Namaskar, I'm Harpreet Kaur and I welcome you all to our live and interactive online training session on inclusive education and digital technology. This training session is organized by Central Institute of Educational Technology, that is CIET NCERT, in collaboration with Department of Education of Groups with Special Needs NCERT. And you're watching us live on PM eVidya channels 6 to 12 and also on our YouTube handle NCERT Official. Today we are in day 2 of the training session and the topic that we have taken up is Universal Design of Learning. If you have any questions related to the topic, please feel free to get in touch with us. Our phone number is 8800440559. Our email ID is training.helpdesk@ciet.nic.in. And you can always send us your comments and suggestions on our YouTube handle NCERT Official. We request you to kindly not mark your attendance and please ask relevant questions. Now, to have a discussion on this topic, to know more about the universal design of learning, we are joined by our experts. So please welcome along with me Professor Vinay Kumar Singh. Sir is Head, Department of Education of Groups with Special Needs, NCERT, New Delhi. Sir, namaskar and very warm welcome to you. Now, sir, since we're talking about inclusive education and digital technology, they go hand in hand, and it's very important basically to keep the innovation going so that we can include everybody, because inclusion is like we have all the people there on the same page. We are also talking about through this the concept of equity in education. Now, sir, by definition, I want to ask you, what exactly do we mean by universal design of learning, and what all important points you will be covering in the session, if you can give us a brief overview of the same.
Yes, this is the session on universal design of learning, and that is a kind of a strategic planning for by the learners, how they want to learn. So this is on that, and in this session I am going to cover about curriculum adaptation and differentiated instruction and individual design of learning. So these three things are interrelated, and how we can differentiate it and how similar they are, and how a teacher can be there in the classroom to deal with all kinds of children in the classroom. So that we are going to discuss here.
That's amazing, sir, because of these sessions only, when I've learned that there are learners who learn through visual mode, and there are auditory learners, kinesthetic learners. I'm sure we're going to touch upon many more aspects of the same. So now I request you to kindly go ahead with your presentation uninterrupted, and whatever questions we will be receiving from our viewers, we'll take them up in the end.
Yes.
Please, sir. Thank you.
So today's session is universal design of learning, and as you know, in our society we have diverse population. So they may be diverse due to their geographical location, gender identity may be different, age groups may be different, their food habits, their clothing, attire, their abilities, disability, their habitat, everything. These things may be different if it belongs to different individual. So these are the some list I have mentioned here in the slide, you can see, and this is not the exhaustive list. The list can go on, and these kind of diversity may be there in the society in different people. So the NEP 2020, in if you will see para 6.2, they have categorized this diverse identity or diversity in various 5 groups mainly, and broadly we can say it is socio-economically disadvantaged group if you will refer NEP 2020. So these are the 5 groups are gender identity, in which the male, female and transgender individual may be there. Socio-cultural identity, that include scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, OBC, minority. Geographical identity, geographical differences may be there in the children. They may belong to villages, small towns, aspirational district. They may be from the far-flung area, the international bordering area, the flood affected area, coastal area and desert area. So many geographical differences may be there in the children. The 4th category is of disability. So whatever disability is specified under Rights of Persons with Disability Act, at present it is 21 disability, and some more groups are being included in the Rights of Persons with Disability Act 2016. So we deal here in this category the persons with or children with disability. And the 5th one is socio-economic conditions. So if the children belongs to different migrants people, their socio-economic status may be poor, may be low, may be high, so that includes in the socio-economic condition. So generally what we see in NEP 2020, why it is categorized in different category, because these children generally they are getting dropped out from the classroom because of our whatever pedagogy we are using, the way we are teaching in the classroom may not be meeting to the needs of the particular child who are from the different background. In RT Act, it is mentioned as children belonging to disadvantaged group and weaker section, and they have the reservation also in the school admission, in higher education, in jobs, and everywhere these kind of reservations are there. So these are the diverse identity we can see in our classroom. So here see why we need to adapt our curriculum. Curriculum is there for all. So why there is a need to adapt this curriculum? That is because of the diverse nature of our children, diverse nature of our learner. So we have to know our learner. So the teacher should keep in mind this keyword. We have to know, we have to learn from our learner, we have to use learner as a resources. They may have so many things, they from their own background, they have some kind of resources, they have some kind of knowledge, they have some kind of understanding about their environment, about their locality. So from there we have to we can use them as a resources. So these children may have their different needs. You can see in the slides, they come from different educational background, have different attention span, have different language ability, have different cultural background. So these kind of, you will see these kind of children in our classroom. You have class of 30 children, 40 children, and these children may be there in the classroom of different background, different abilities. So before going in detail about the universal design of learning, we should understand what adaptation means. In previous slides I mentioned about adaptation. So adaptation means what it generally connotes. So an adaptation is an intervention. It is a kind of intervention that retains the learning outcomes of the prescribed curriculum intact and is implemented so that students can more effectively or productively participate in the classroom. So we have to design our curriculum in such a way, not only in the content but also in the pedagogy, teaching learning material, in the assessment, the way we teach in the classroom, the way we interact with in the classroom, the way we instruct to the children in the classroom. All these things can be adapted for the children as per their needs. But there is no blueprint for that. There is no recipe, ready-made recipe is there, because each and every child is different from or unique from one another. So we cannot prescribe something that this should be there to adapt the curriculum. So we have to assess the needs of the child, learning needs of the child in particular, and then we have to adapt our curriculum. So each teacher, each student, each classroom is unique, and adaptations are specific to each situations. Suppose a teacher is teaching the same topic in the classroom today and again teaching the same topic in another classroom. Those situation may be different. The way he will speak in the classroom, the way he will interact in the classroom, the way he will give example, the illustrations, that may be different. So each teacher is different and each student is different. So adapting a lesson may not always be necessary. That is also important. Sometimes we do not require, and most of the time we do not require any kind of adaptation in the classrooms. So how we do the curriculum adaptation? It is a process of making necessary changes in learning content. As I already mentioned this, we do modification in some of the content or the pedagogy or the assessment procedure. We substitute something, we replace something, we compensate something in the content, in it may be in the teaching learning material, it may be in the process, and we sometimes we have to omit some of the thing if the child is not at all getting benefit of the content or getting benefit of the that pedagogy we are using in the classroom. So, but we have to understand that we should not change the the exact, the core purpose of the learning. So, here we have to see, while doing the adaptation, we have to see two things, the accommodation and modification. With accommodation, the students are working on the same instructional objective and content as the other student, but how the student learn and the way they demonstrate what they have learned may be different from that of their peers. So, accommodation can include changes. These are actually the minor changes we make as per the need of the child, like in the presentation we can make the changes, in the instructional strategy we can make the change, the time scheduling we can change, the environment and the equipment or the teaching learning material we can change. Suppose we are teaching the child with the help of a textbook, but a child is there with the visual disability, we may use the braille equipment. We can, if the child is with intellectual disability in the classroom, so we can make the teaching learning material or the concept in a we can present them in a concretized way. So, that kind of adaptation or accommodation we can do. So, simple things we do while doing the accommodations. Modification is something more we do while doing the adaptation. So, modifications are substantial changes in what a student is expected to learn and demonstrate that are based on the individual needs and abilities. So, modification might include changes in instruction level, content level and performance criteria. So, these things were there in the accommodations also, and this is also there in the modification. These all like instructional level, the content and the performance criteria, the presentation and the learning material, etc. But there is a difference in the accommodation and modification. Okay. You can see the difference between accommodation and modification in the next slides. Yeah. So, if you will see the orange part, that is accommodation, presenting accommodation, and the another part is modification. So, here in accommodation what we do not alter expectations or expectation in the instructional level, content and the performance criteria. But in modification, we alter expectations or standard in the instructional level, content and performance criteria. That means, suppose I am giving one example. Suppose the mathematics teacher in class 2, they are teaching 2-digit addition like 42 plus 33. So, suppose there is a child who is not at that level of 2-digit addition, and he is at the level of single digit addition. So, what the teacher will do, he will modify the expectation level of the child. When other child is doing double digit addition, for this child this will be single digit addition, and slowly gradually he will move on to the double digit addition. So, that kind of performance criteria he can set. Even he can introduce the double digit addition, but what he will do, like for 42 for 2 he will make 2 balls, for 4 he will make 4 balls both side, because the child is at the meaningful level. That means 2 means 2 things and 4 means 4 things. So, he will count 2 and 4, and then that is how he will calculate. So, that kind of modification, the major modification we do in the modification part. Then if you will see the accommodation, changes are made to provide equal access to learning and equal opportunity to demonstrate what is known. So, that is accommodation, and modification is changes are made in order to provide a student meaningful and productive learning experiences based on the individual needs and ability. So, here you can see, like suppose the child is with low vision, and the font size is very small or in 12 font, but this child require larger font like 40 font or 45 font. So, we are just increasing the size of the font of the text. Yes. And that is how we are making little changes. But here in modification what we do, suppose there is a chapter of 4 or 5 pages and we are making the outline of all the chapters, removing unnecessary activity of the chapters. So, if it is very focused, then that is a major changes we are doing. So, it is modification. So, similarly grading is same for all learner in accommodation, but here the grading may be different, as I have given you the previous example of addition. So, here we are the performance criteria we are changing in modification, and certain examples I have just mentioned here, providing large size print, alternate assignment. Suppose there is some assignment is there to draw something, to draw like leaf and depict the or name the parts of the leaf. Okay, for other children. So suppose a child with visual impairment is there. So what he will do? He will trace the leaf. So that kind of activity. We are just changing the alternating the assignment, or he will verbally say what is there, or he will just denote it with the braille. So that kind of thing we can do in the accommodation. But in modification, what we do? We suppose there is a big paragraph, there is a big chapter, so we will outline the essay or the headlines, pictorials in place of paragraph or story. Suppose there is a child with a specific learning disability and there is a question and their answer is like 4-5 lines and the child is not sequencing the sentences, then the answer will be wrong. So what we will do, in place of that, we present it in a pictorial form of that particular answer and we sequence that picture. Suppose I am giving you one example. A child, the answer of the question is, the child while coming out of the home there was rain and the child went home back. He has taken the umbrella and then he proceeded towards his school. Suppose this is the answer of the question. So the children who have a specific learning disability, they might have difficulty in learning all those sentences and framing the sentences and organizing all the structure of the sentences, sequencing the sentences and all. So what we will do? We will draw. The child is coming out of the house. We will draw a house. He is coming out of the house, there is a rain, then he is going back, we will make the arrow, he is now he is taking the umbrella and then he is trying to reach to the classroom. So he will understand all the sequence and then he will frame their own sentences to write down the answers. So that is how we will do the modification to get the information from the child or answer from the child.
That's interesting.
So this is a kind of rubber band theory for adaptation when we do the adaptation. So it is based on the we stretch the rubber, no. So it based on that. In some of the children, suppose this is the meeting line. That standard is that 80% the child has to achieve in some of the concepts. So for some children, that standard without doing any kind of adaptation, the child is meeting that standard. So that is the red line. Suppose the child is not meeting the adaptation, but little bit we make the changes and he is meeting out that standard. So that is accommodation. And when we have to stretch out much and much and then he is meeting the standard, that is modification. So this is that kind of theory is working there, and it is also applicable for children who are gifted. So suppose the child is very genius and whatever you are teaching in the classroom, he already knows, so he will not pay attention in the classroom. So what he will do, for them also we have to do modification, we have to give more challenging tasks to the child in the classroom. So universal design of learning, adaptation, differentiated instruction, it is not only dealing with the children who have average intelligence or below average intelligence or different ability, even with the children who have giftedness or talented children, we are including those children also.
Right.
So here are some quick questions are there. I have just prepared to reflect us back if the viewer are seeing it. So all children with disability need adaptation? No. All children with disability, they do not need adaptation. Some of the children do not require adaptation at all.
So they require modification?
No, they do not require modification. They do not require adaptation. So the general curriculum, whatever we are teaching in the classroom, mainly 70 to 80% children with a disability, they do not require any kind of modification or adaptation. So adaptation benefits children with or without disability. Yes, it is not only limited to the children with disability, but other children also. Yes. Suppose we are using Hindi or English in the classroom during interaction, during instruction, but the child language is something different. So he may not understand whatever you are teaching in the classroom. So child may not understand that, and their performance may be low. It does not mean his intelligence is low, he cannot, his abilities is low. But if we will teach those things in their or relate that particular thing or contextualize that particular concept, so it will be easier for the
mother tongue.
Yes, so then the child will learn better. Then there are fixed way or guidelines for adapting curricula.
No.
There is no fixed way. Adaptation means using expensive technology or use of visual. No, it is not like that.
Yeah.
Adaptation of curriculum means simplifying text or supporting it with visuals. It is not true. So it is all answers are recorded here.
Yeah.
So this is a funnel approach. So here I am just trying to show that most of the children, the wider upper space of this funnel. So most of the children, they do not require any kind of adaptation. So try the general curricula first. Try major changes and minor support. Try minor changes and minor support during the initial period. Then you try a smaller step, a small chunk of contents at a time, and then gradually expand towards the adaptation or modification. So that is how the teacher should go.
Right.
So then we can move to the differentiated instruction and differentiated classroom. I will come, the previous slide I will come next.
Sure.
So the differentiated instruction is a process of teaching and learning for students of different abilities in the same classroom. It is again the same, and differentiated instruction is based on modification of 3 elements. It mainly focuses again on content, process and assessment of outcome. So adapting the content as per the student needs. Process is maybe individualized. We are teaching the child on the individual basis in a small group or in a large group, or we are pairing the students. Suppose there is a child with visual disability and other children are all sighted children. So we can make a group for teaching a particular concept. That kind of thing we can use in the process. And if you will see the conceptual understanding of this differentiated instruction, this is an instructional model that provides guidance for the teacher in addressing a student differences in readiness, interest, learning profile with the goal of maximizing the capacity of each learner. And the strategy what we are following, the modification in the content, modification in the process, modification in the assessment and learning environment. That includes the learning teaching materials. So then I am moving towards this, the what is there in the traditional classroom and differentiated classroom. What is the basic difference? Differences are seen as problematic and challenging in the traditional classroom. The teachers think that this kind of child is coming into my classroom, how I will teach, I do not know his language, I do not know his background, the child is with visual disability, child is with learning disability or intellectual disability, so it is going to be burden for me, how I will teach. But in differentiated classroom, differences are studied as a basis for planning. So we have to know our child, and we have to list down their abilities, what are the learning needs are there, that we have to analyze, and then we have to plan for whole class. Assessment is done at the end of learning session, but here the assessment is ongoing process. In between we ask question, in between we do the assessment. Whenever the child is engaged in the activity and we can see, we can observe, we can do the assessment of the child. Coverage of curriculum determines the instruction. Here the student readiness level, student interest and the learning profile that shape the instruction. And focus is on whole class instructional approach. And in differentiated instruction, many instructional arrangements are used, like whole class, paired, we pair 2 children together in a small group, in large group. So that kind of arrangement we prefer in differentiated classroom. And mainly single text material is provided, but in differentiated classroom multiple materials in different formats are provided. Suppose I am giving you one example. Suppose germination of seeds we have to teach in the classroom. In class 4 and 5 it is there. So generally what the teacher do, they draw the germination of there is one glass, one stick will be there, and at 3 places seeds will be there, and water and other arrangement are there in the on the board. They draw and they say the air, water and temperature is necessary for germination of seeds. But here in multiple materials what we do, we make a group. Before doing this kind of instruction, we give assignment to the group of children. You will in the home they will experiment out ki how the seedlings will come out, what are the things are necessary, and we assign particular things to all of the children. They bring after 2-3 days, no, they bring all the their experimental thing in the classroom, and then the teacher tell them to discuss about what are the things are necessary for germination of seeds, which seed got germinated, which is not. So that kind of analysis the children do, and the children learn themselves. So that is the way we do in the differentiated classroom. Now we come to the universal design. This concept of universal design for learning, this is actually comes from the physical environment. Generally nowadays we see at the airport, railway station, everywhere it is made accessible.
Yeah.
So the physical environment, that is for that is for all people, that is for all. So that is why it is called universal. If you will see the mobile phone, it is universal for all.
Yes.
If you will see nowadays we are carrying our suitcase, earlier the wheel and all the handles were not there, and nowadays everything is there, the 360-degree rotation and everything, that is as per the need of the child. So the company is making the suitcase for the person seeing the needs of the whole locality, and similar kind of arrangement is being done at the airport, at the mall, at the railway station and everywhere. So universal design demands modification from the both side.
Exactly.
Okay.
You need to collaborate with others, and it has to be in alignment with the process of inclusion. Like they will be preparing ramps accordingly so that you can drag the suitcases out there. Okay, great.
So the same concept is now being taken into the teaching learning teaching environment. So we call it is a kind of buffet. That is the basic difference between the differentiated instruction, curriculum adaptation and universal design. So in buffet system, what we do, there are variety of food items are there, and the people think what I need. They use their cognition, they use their metacognition, what I need, and they take those things. But in traditional way, what was there, we just analyze what are the needs of the maximum people of the society, and we make that kind of food, and we provide whatever they want or not, we just ask and we provide those kind of food. That is the traditional way of in the party.
So many were feeling left out at that time.
Yes, yes. So now this is so universal design of learning is a kind of buffet of options. We are providing so many options are there for the teaching learning material, for the content also, for the process also, and even for the assessment also. So this kind of criteria we provide to the children, and they choose their way. They explore their way, how they want to learn. They want to learn in the pair, they want to do the activity and learn, they want to do on the worksheet and they will learn, they want to use the technology and they want to learn. So that kind of a strategy the children themselves they ask. So suppose there is a child who is who cannot write, there may be wrist drop is there. So what government is providing, they may provide a scribe to these children, and suppose there is a question but he will speak and somebody will write, it will take time, he may not satisfy with what the scribe is writing. So if there will be kind speech to text software in the computer, he will speak and that software will write their answer. So that kind of technology we can use, text to speech, speech to text.
True.
So DAISY books are also there. So these kind of technology can be used for universal design of learning. So options are offered by here. What is there? Options are offered by the teacher, but not individualized for specific students. Students are intended to become self-directed learner and choose the options. A student learn to take responsibility for their learning. So these are the principle of universal design, and the same principle we follow. The whatever product will be there, whatever learning will be there, that is equitable for their use. That should be flexible in nature. The way the child wants to use it, they can use it. Simple and intuitive. It should be simple. Otherwise, if the process will be complex, the concept will be complex, strategy will be complex, the people will reject it. True. So the principle should be simple, perceptible in nature, So the information the child wants to get, that he can analyze those concepts, he can discriminate between the concepts
Yes.
easily. Tolerance for error, there should be, if some error is being made, so there should be inbuilt technique to correct that error, or there may be a small thing the person has to do to correct the error. So that kind of mechanism should be there. Low physical effort, if the effort will be more to do that particular activity, the thing will be rejected. The size and space for approach and use, for if the content of the learning content is very large or very small, so that will also impact the learning. And it should be for all, community of learning, it should be for all, and the person can interact with other students, they can discuss with other students. So that kind of all the principle we have to follow while designing our concept, our learning process. So these are how our brain works, how we activate our brain during universal design of learning. The strategic part, how we will learn. Effective part is why we want to learn this particular concept, that will be selected by the child, and what he want to learn. So these all three dimensions, the part is activated, the affective domain, the action domain, and the learning domain, so understanding domain. So these three parts generally works while we are using this universal design of learning. Again, the presentation, expression and participation, these are the three key things in universal design of learning. Since beginning you are seeing in the slides these particular three things. So presentation should be, the teacher should make their presentation in such a way, they should keep in mind there are a variety of children in the classroom. Some children will learn through the visual mode of learning, some may be auditory, some may be kinesthetic, some may be with tactile. So their presentation should have multiple format, that may be digital, that may be tactile, that may be printed form, that may be in a kind of worksheet, that may be in the kind of activity. So they have to be prepared how they will transact their contents. Second point is expression and communication, that means the children have, we have to give option to the children, they can express their things on their own way. Suppose the child cannot communicate verbally, so if he can draw and communicate, if he can write something on the computer, he can use digital technology and he can communicate. So whatever way he want to communicate, he can communicate. I have seen one child who is a wheelchair user, his all he was quadriplegia, the hand and limbs were not moving, he only with the tongue he can operate a laptop and he can select whatever the responses he want to do, there is a voice output, and he was using that. Another child with cerebral palsy, he has a communication board, and nowadays it is a technology based communication board is coming out, so with that they can communicate. If he has to or she has to say I want water, so he will select I want water on the on that board, and this will speak I want water. And if the training will be given to the particular child, he will communicate like you and we can. So that kind of thing is there. And participation, we have to, if you will, if your presentation will be in multiple, with the multiple option, automatically the child will participate in the activity and he will learn. So this is the vertical framework. Again, the action, representation and engagement is there. This is the way how the teacher can provide the alternate means of presentation, and how the children will choose their way to present the things, and how we will make them engage in the activity. And this is the horizontal way. Why we call it horizontal way? This is previous one is for the teacher, how we will plan the activity, and this is for the students. They will access the material, they will explore the material, and the language, the persistency, everything will be inbuilt in the child, and then he will internalize the particular concept. So that is why we call it horizontal framework of universal design of learning. So, here the steps of designing the learning activity or lesson planning. So, we will start with the goal, that is the concept what we are going to teach, and we have to prepare with flexibility, a number of multiple of way we have to present that particular concept, and we have to think of in whatever way we can include each and every child in the classroom to engage in the learning activity, and he will do something and he will learn, and ensure all learners can access their materials and learning environment. So, this we have to ensure, make learning personally relevant to each learner and promote expert learning. And that is how we make the lesson planning. The teacher has to make the particular objective, and then they have to, while doing the whole thing, how they will go on, how the learning teaching material will be selected. So, there they have to select the multiple way of presentation, multiple way of expression, and how they are going to engage the children. So, this is the common things I have given here in the UDL and differentiated instruction. If you will say, in UDL, plan the lesson in anticipation of the learner needs. These are the needs will be there for the learner. Inbuilt method of differentiation in the lesson. So, we already plan out, during lesson planning we plan out for the whole class. But in differentiating instruction, modification in response to the learner needs. We see the learner needs and then we modify. So, it takes time. So, preferences as identified during and after instruction, and this is done during instruction, but this is prior to the instruction. We plan out whole the program, and both way we can meet the individual needs, provide access to same quality contents to the children, create high supported engaging learning environment, provide multiple options to develop and express their knowledge and skills, inculcate strategic learning, and assess the learner progress during learning activity, and accommodate as needed. So, a student need to, here again some questions are there. A student need to be grouped based on their competency while applying UDL based teaching learning session. So, ability wise grouping is necessary? No, it is not. This is not necessary. It takes too long to find out who needs what? No, it is not. We have to, if the teacher is interacting with the student, they can easily find out what are the needs of the children. UDL helps in understanding the student individual need. Yes, it helps in understanding the individual needs. UDL requires different lesson planning for class of 30 students. No, the same lesson plan will be there for all students. The teacher is taking care of all lessons, and UDL can't be practically feasible to apply in the classroom. It can be practically applied if the teacher will plan out prior to the teaching learning session, and UDL is not applicable in my class as there are no student with disability in my class. Wrong. False. So, these are again the answer. So, these are the initiatives done in our department. The first two books are, one is at primary level, upper is for upper primary level. Nowadays we call it preparatory level and middle stage. So, in these book, there are some examples are given how you will accommodate the children, how you will do the adaptation in the content, in the teaching learning material, in the assessment, the teaching, even in the procedure, in the process. Right. So, these things are there. Even we have the guidelines for how the teacher will develop e-content for children who have diverse needs, and there is again one handbook is there for the teachers who are working in the scheduled caste concentrated area, that is based on their learning needs. We have index for inclusive school. A teacher or the school principal, they can apply. There is 253 items in that, and they can see how much their school are inclusive. The curriculum adaptation is there or not. The teacher are using this pedagogical process, whatever we have discussed during this session. So, it is there or not. And recently, our department has launched in 2024 only the National Guideline and Implementation Framework on equitable and inclusive education, and it is launched by ministry also. So, this is the thing. So, thank you very much.
Right, sir, it was very interesting. In fact, I think this universal design of learning is a very beautiful concept, and if applied nicely and successfully, it can lead to some great results. And like never before, we can see the process of inclusion coming to fruition. We can see all children, all stakeholders enjoying the process. Now, sir, there are a few questions that we have received, and let's talk about them as well. So, there's a question by one of the viewers, and he's asking, what are some challenges that educators and policy makers face in implementing universal design of learning and inclusive education, and how can they be addressed?
Generally, these are very common questions from the teachers, mainly the practitioner in the classrooms. So they think that this is a very new thing the teacher has to do. Suppose there is a teacher in the classroom, he know about each and every particular child in the classroom, if the classroom is of 30 or 40 students in total. So they know their abilities. So what they are not doing, they are not planning as per the particular needs of the child. Whatever the traditional approach they are doing the same approach in the classroom, and that is why they have this kind of questions. Generally, what they have to do, they have to if they are selecting some topic or concept to teach in the classroom, they have to see what are the particular needs of the child as per that particular topic. So accordingly, if they will design their lesson plan to teach in the classroom, not the written lesson plan, they have to design those things in their, like analyzing the needs of the children and how they are going to teach in the classroom. If that kind of planning is there in their brain, and then they are going and doing the conducting their session, and that becomes very fruitful to them.
Okay, so there's another question, and the person is asking, what role do teachers play in fostering a culture of inclusion and acceptance in schools?
Okay. So this is a very good question, and in the initial slides only I mentioned that the students are a good source, good resources in the classroom. Whatever things you are teaching in the classroom, they have their own build-up knowledge already.
Right.
So if suppose the teacher is teaching a particular child in the classroom and giving some concept, they can explore from the children how much they already know in the classroom, and if he or she will explore those particular thing, half of the answers they want, that can be discussed in the classroom, and half of the concept already the child may be knowing.
But don't you think, sir, it's becoming a little challenging these days, considering the strength of the classrooms and given the kind of burden teachers have on their shoulders?
So that thing is there. There's so many different things like collecting data and other things are there in the classroom. But still, I have seen some teacher and teacher are very creative in our classroom. And if they will think, they will determine that these things I have to do, I have to teach this particular things. See, nowadays the children with visual impairment, they are doing experiment on light. Can you imagine, like us? Suppose they are using the light travels on the straight pathway, they are using the same thing. Like suppose this is the source of light, there is a screen, there is a pinhole, the light is coming out in the straight pathway, and we see this is the straight pathway. The child with visual impairment, they cannot see. So what they do, there is a instrument and there is a app also in our mobile, and that app is voice sound emitting app, and they will sound like T, and when the light will be there, T, the pitch will be different. So they will fix it this thing, and here they will use their own ruler, that is embossed ruler. They have their like a stylus, and they will put this is making the sound T. So then they will take their stylus, and if it will be in between, it will say T. So they will put like this, and they will draw a line, and they will also see teacher, my light is also traveling on the straight pathway.
Love.
So they are doing a light experiment, they are doing reflection, titration in the chemistry. That is a very difficult task, and they are performing that in the
which was unimaginable before. And there's another question, sir. How can educators ensure that digital resources are accessible and usable for all students regardless of their abilities?
There are so many digital resources are coming up nowadays, like softwares are there, mobile apps are there, and with the help of those apps, no, not only the children with disability, but other children also, these digital devices, digital app, they are made in such a way that is based on principle of universal design.
Okay.
So everybody can use it. So suppose if you will explore in your mobile, no, there is a option of accessibility, and if you will see that
Yes.
option, so everything whatever is written on your mobile, no, that will speak out if you want. So there is some color coding is there, and even I have some Microsoft app also, and if you will take the picture of some person who is sitting in front of you, it will speak out what is the color complexion of that person, he or she is wearing glass or not, how much far he or she is, what is the age of that particular person, he is happy or he is angry. So all those things it will communicate. So that kind of app is there, all the like materials that can be there. So these things are nowadays made accessible for children of different needs, diverse needs.
Now, so how do you think that these educators can use technology or different means, as you just mentioned, to provide multiple means of representation, expression and engagement for students with diverse need? You just give the example of that light experiment.
Yes.
What else can you say about it?
So there are they have to one thing they have to explore about these kind of like apps and softwares. In NCERT also, we in our NCERT site there is a vertical called accessibility, and if they will click on that, even the books and everything they can get it in the digital mode, different way how they are using. They have to be the teacher has to explore or being update about the technology being used by these children. So those are some of the like apps are there. Even there are different National Institute on Disability, so they can contact with them, they can contact with the NCERT also, CIT also.
Okay.
So from there they can get information what are the apps and what are the new technology are being used.
Okay. Now, sir, that now that we are left with very little time, so one last question. How do you think educators, policymakers and technology developers, they work together to create more inclusive and supportive learning environments, specifically for children with disabilities and as such for everybody also?
So here what we should do, like suppose we have developed the guidelines, and in that guidelines, no, we have 5 guidelines in that. So at the foundational stage, the issues have been listed down, and the mechanism of implementation, how we should go about, that is listed down. Similarly, how we can create an inclusive school where the teacher, all the stakeholder, teacher, parents, students, they how they have to see the issue and the how they should follow the mechanism. So that is there. Even our teaching learning in the pre-service teacher education program and in-service teacher education program, what are the modification, what are the revamping mechanism is necessary. So that is also included, and how we should go for the home based education program. So that is there also in the guideline, and how we should collaborate with the different agencies, different individual experts in the field. So that is also there. So I will ask viewer to go through that particular guidelines. It is a very small guidelines. It is available in our website also. So they can explore it, they can see how we can collaborate, how we can make it successful for our classroom, which is diverse in nature.
Absolutely, sir. I thank you for answering all the queries so patiently and so nicely. Universal design of learning is an amazing concept, I must say. Now, before I finally wrap up this session, would you like to say anything to all the stakeholders out there regarding today's session and how they can implement the same, not just in their classrooms, but also even in homes, because the parents are teachers also?
Yes, like universal design is everywhere, and learning is taking place everywhere, not in the classroom, not in the like boundary in the four boundary walls of the classroom. Learning is everywhere. And when I was mentioning the classroom means if the art teacher or if the physical education teacher doing their class outside of that four wall, the learning is taking place. So it is applicable everywhere, even at home also. If the parents are providing a learning corner in their home also, so there also the method, the way the child is learning, that kind of option we have to make open for the children. So the children will choose how they want to learn. The children can select what are the tasks they need. So that means we are generating interest in the children by providing variety of options in front of the child. So that is how the child will learn.
Well, all children are unique and so are their needs, and with this I have to wrap up this online training program on Universal Design of Learning Day 2's session under the umbrella theme of Inclusive Education and Digital Technology. And let me thank my expert for the same, Professor Vinay. Thank you so much for your time and contribution to the session. It was very insightful. And now viewers, I'm wrapping up the session over here. As I said, it's a training program. If you wish to attempt the assessment, you can always go to the CIT website and just go through the guidelines and you will get the details. Now finally, before I leave, it's time for me to tell you about the textbooks. They are available on Amazon, Flipkart and NCERT website. You can purchase your copies from there and simultaneously take a look at the schedule, what's all coming ahead. In a short while from now, you can watch a session Sahyog where we will be talking about handling rejection and failure during adolescence. So please participate in the session and do ask questions. With this, it's a wrap. This is me, Harpreet Kaur, taking leave of you. Take care. Namaskar.